Greetings everyone and welcome to today's video. Today I'm going to be breaking down my net income last week in my Amazon and eBay business, and I'm going to be showcasing some things that I did well and some things that didn't go so well and how I plan on fixing those. And I think last week really does a good job of highlighting those good and bad things, and hopefully you guys can take away something and apply it in your own business. Now, before we actually get into the numbers, I want to talk about, why I'm even doing this, why I'm dedicating a whole video just to this topic. And for those of you who don't know me, I guess more so on a personal level, I'm not really a flashy person. I'm not trying to brag or come off that way at all, because in reality, I know sellers that are doing much more than me. I am happy with my progress, but at the same time, I realize, I have a long way to go to get to where I want to go. But that leads me into why I did think it was important for me to do this. And the first reason is just to show people what is possible with the online arbitrage and wholesale business model. Now, online arbitrage, more so than wholesale, has quite a few misconceptions around it. I saw in a Facebook group one time someone say online arbitrage, isn't that where you're going to Walmart every other day? And, obviously that's not the case at all. I'm not saying I don't work a lot, because I work a ton, but I'm able to not only work on my Amazon business, but I'm able to focus on other things, other streams of income, learn other things for my business. And if you flash back a year ago when I was just pretty much doing retail arbitrage, that was not the case at all. I was grossing $8,000 a month. I was working 80 hours a week. It was miserable. I could not focus on anything else. So, I just want to say that, just to show people what's possible with, these business models. Now, number two, and this is probably the biggest reason why I'm making this, is just to show you guys that I not only know what I know, but I know how to execute what I know. So in the YouTube Amazon community, really the only validity that a YouTuber has is either their own numbers or students' numbers. And, when you don't see those, it's really like, how do you know that this person isn't just regurgitating information that they heard from someone else, a course or whatever? So really for me, it's some kind of accountability. And I think this is extremely important when there's any type of paid information on a YouTuber's channel. So, for me, I don't have a whole lot, but I have a $30 ebook and a $100 course. So I think it's important for me just to show people that, hey, I'm practicing what I'm preaching kind of deal. And that even leads me into, I guess when I thought about this video, when I was thinking about the last time I updated my numbers, I think what I did in a month was pretty close to what I did last week. And this is gross sales, by the way, but that's what made me think about it. So I'm not 100% sure on that, but that's what I think. So that being said, guys, let's go ahead and break down the numbers. Okay, guys, so let's go ahead and talk about last week's income on Amazon. Now, last week I did a little under $4,100 in sales with about 35% profit margins, which is pretty typical. It just depends on your niche. So it might be a little more, it might be a little less, just depending on what you're selling. And this is a little bit below normal, actually. So the reason why this is lower is because I've actually been pulling out money for the ASD trade show, which is at the end of July in Vegas. And I'm going to that, and I'm going to be making a video on just a little bit more on that going forward. But that's the reason why that's a little bit lower. But that's not really the main thing I'm concerned with. The main problem in my business, and if you have already looked at these graphs, it's going to be my supply chain logistics and cash flow management. So I want you guys to look at this income over here. Okay, so right here I did $570. This day I did $1,700. And then I go down to $153 the next day. That is absolutely ridiculous. There is no excuse for that at all. Like, there's absolutely no excuse. And then it starts scaling up. And what happened here is just bad inventory management. So all these retailers, so especially with online arbitrage, some retailers will get your stuff in quick, and others, it'll be more of a delayed process. And I just haven't been keeping track of it. So what I do is I have a spreadsheet, cost of goods sold spreadsheet. I have a spreadsheet for, all of my debit card. I have a credit card with bonus points, all of this stuff. And I keep track of everything on all of these sheets. But something I don't keep track of is the time it takes to get to the Amazon warehouse. And my process before has just been, well, I just source more and it'll make it better. But obviously that isn't necessarily working. So right here, everything's great. And then, obviously it drops off. Like I said, no excuse for that. But I think implementing that also too is cash flow management. So there may be, I have a certain budget each day, but I like to take the Gary Vee jab, right hook approach where, I'll make small purchases. And then when I see a purchase I really, really like, I'll go big on it. I'll go big. For anyone in the Facebook group, that I did that. It was last week. And then what happens is there may be a couple of days where I'll find items, but I won't make any purchases. So what I think I need to do is to counter that is to have some kind of like backup Amazon cash flow that I can tap into after instances like that. And that's what I think will help combat that. So that being said, I think, like I said, I implement those things. I think it'll help me scale a little bit better and more so just have more steady sales instead of these weird. And this is pretty typical. Like, I'm not saying I'll do $1,700 in a day and where it'll drop off like that. Like, that's very extreme. And that's one of the reasons why I wanted to talk about this is that drop off. But it does happen. But now I'm going to go into my eBay sales. I don't really talk about eBay a whole lot on my YouTube channel, but I still sell on eBay. And, I'm going to talk more about that now. The profit margins on, and okay, guys, I want to say too, I ignore this day right here. This is Monday, I think, or something. It's about $1,700 in sales. Amazon and eBay combined, it was like $5,800 or something. But yeah, so just ignore that day. But the profit margins on eBay are much higher. They're about 60% net profit margins. And the reason for that is, and I don't really talk about this, but I can make a video on it if you guys like, is I still do retail arbitrage 3 days a month. And the reason for this is because I know when I used to do retail arbitrage, I know the places that are good, and that gives them time to build stock back up to where, every day, each one of those days, I can get about $1,000 to $1,500 in profit for a very low amount of money spent. And it's still worth my time. Also, too, I want to address the reason why this is 1,000% is because last week I went home to see my family, and eBay, unlike Amazon, you have to fulfill the orders yourself unless you have some kind of system. This is not eBay drop shipping. Once again, this is not eBay drop shipping what I'm doing here. This is where I'm fulfilling these orders myself. So there is a little bit of time involved, but it really isn't that much time. It may be, 30 to 45 minutes a day, maybe. I think that's overestimating. So, this is the side of the business where like I'll pay myself a salary. Now, I'm not saying I get all this money, but this is what I use for groceries, going out to eat, like car payment, whatever I have, like anything like that. This is where this comes out of. Now this, like I said, this is a little bit more than normal. My Amazon income was a little bit lower than normal. My eBay income was a little bit higher than normal. So I thought it was appropriate I could do this. And guys, I just want to end, like I said, as you can see, I have several different business models right now. And, last year I had a pretty life-changing moment. I got to interview Brock Johnson, and beforehand we talked, and I remember him saying, you got to craft your own system. So for some people, it's just doing private label and they have a bunch of private label products, and other people it's, they're just doing, one particular thing. For me, I do a little bit of everything, and I'm not necessarily saying that's the best way, but that's what works for me. And it's allowing me to, I feel like, really scale and make some progression. So don't listen to anyone that bashes certain business models. Are some better than others? Of course they are, but it doesn't mean that, someone should completely not do, private labeling because wholesale is less risk, or it doesn't mean that someone should do retail arbitrage because it's very time intensive. I think that, everyone has different needs based on their lifestyle and everything. And like I said, I didn't mean to get off on a tangent, but I wanted to end with that. And hopefully you guys can take away something from this video. And yeah, that's pretty much it, guys. I will see you in the next one.